Hey, it's your boy Ng Gavin, back with another video. In this video, we're going to talk about supply and demand, how it can affect your Amazon business, and also with the recent outbreak of the coronavirus, how this can have an impact on your Amazon business as well. You need to be aware of a few things and take these into consideration when you have your product range. So I want to go over a few of those things now. Obviously, supply and demand is one of the rules of economics, where you've got basically a demand for a product in the marketplace, and then you've got a bunch of people that are fulfilling that demand. You might have people on eBay and people on Amazon that have this product in the marketplace already, and obviously the more sellers come in, eventually that demand's going to be swallowed up, and then there's going to be too many sellers, and once the product the product is out in the marketplace for an extended period of time, the demand drops, and then that's usually when you get to a point where there's a lot of sellers, and then you basically no one makes any money, and then everyone just kind of moves on to the next product. This can happen within 3 months, it can happen within 6 months, or it can take a couple of years. When I started on eBay over a decade ago, I was one of the first, I was actually the third seller on eBay Australia, and what I had at the time was with these little pocket bikes. I'll put a picture of it up here somewhere, and basically these pocket bikes, they were already on eBay USA, but they had not, there was 2 other sellers that had just started selling them on eBay Australia. I was the third seller to actually get these pocket bikes. So I'd researched the US market, and then I'd started bringing them importing them into Australia. So these things were selling like hotcakes. All right, so they basically I was buying them for around about $75 to $100 landed, depending on the supplier, and I would sell them on eBay for $1,000 to $1,500, and I would sell 10, 15, 20 a day. So this is how I got my start into importing, and it was a very, very exciting time. Obviously, I'd made my basically my yearly wage at my job at the time, and I was working as a machine operator in a plastics factory. The huge machine would make a plastic product, and it would open up, and it would pump the product out, and then my job was to go in there, pick it off the machine, click a button, and then the machine would close up again and make the next product. We were making these lids that go onto these stormwater drains, okay? Anyway, so it allowed me to leave my job, but then I understood the power of to get a product that was really, really hot, and then get that to the marketplace fast and fulfill that demand before other sellers came in. So that was a really, really important principle that I learned. And if you need to understand supply and demand, because it can be the make or break of your Amazon business. So what you want to do is, obviously, with the coronavirus, people are going, especially in Australia, going to the supermarkets, going crazy over toilet paper, hand sanitizers, masks. Now, if you are already an Amazon seller and you already stocked these products, and you had ample volume of this product, because that's like your bread and butter, you would be laughing all the way to the bank, because this type of product is in high demand, and it's the demand is so high, it is exceeding the supply. And right now, especially in the America, Australia, it's also here in Thailand, it's very hard to get these masks. So what happens is, supply and demand, the price goes up. Less sellers, huge demand, then the price goes up. And that's the scenario, the ultimate scenario that you want. You want to be there with the really, really high demand product with limited sellers, so then the price is high, and that'll force the price up all the time. But as soon as more sellers come in, obviously, and the demand goes down, then it's just going to be a price war. You want to get out of that before that scenario happens. One way to combat this, obviously, diversify your SKUs. All right, don't just have like 5 SKUs and you're contained to a particular product range. So let me say, example, you might have kitchen goods, and your goods is your whole business in Amazon is around kitchen goods. All of a sudden now there's a crisis, and now no one's buying kitchen goods. See, so one of the mistakes you can make as an Amazon seller is to only have a small range of products and not expanding into multiple SKUs. I prefer to go after items that are basically in high demand. I don't actually stay loyal to any type of brand. I mean, you could bring multiple brands out, but for me, I sell the items that are in high demand. I don't care what they are. That's one thing. So when there's a crisis like now, in the case of the coronavirus, I mean, it's not going to matter for me, because I'm diversified in my products. If you're not diversified, you run the risk, more of a higher risk, of having your product not sell. All right. So I would say diversify your SKUs. Also, you want to get your products, like, you want to be like limited amount of people that are selling in that category. So you want to be like maybe the only 1 seller or 2 sellers on Amazon. Do your research prior to getting those products. And we're talking about Amazon Australia. Only be like 1 or 2 sellers that are selling in that actual subcategory of those products. Well, let me just give you an example. Maybe children play sets, like those play sets for kids it's like an outdoor play set, okay? And you're like the only 1 or 2 sellers that is actually selling that product because it's such a large product. But there's still enough people that are buying that, then that's a good scenario for you. Whereas if you're trying to sell these play sets and all of a sudden there's like 10 more sellers, then no one's going to make any money because everyone's competing on price. And then the price lowers, people lower their price to sell the product, and it just gets ugly, all right? So you want to be in a niche or a sub-niche that has very little people selling it, all right? So you have to do your research prior. Other things too as well is, I made a video about this already on my channel. You can still sell the same products as people are selling in the US. And what happens is, when you type in the word, let's say coffee maker, you type in the word coffee maker and you see all these international sellers because they're selling globally, meaning Amazon will put their listing in Amazon Australia, and it'll say it's an international item. So when you go and type in coffee maker, the keyword, and all these people that come up and they're all internationally, see, Amazon's still going to show them, because if they've got the sales velocity, meaning people are still buying that, even though they're in Australia and they're buying that thing in the US and it's still selling, Amazon is going to show that in the listing. In other words, there's people in Australia prepared to buy the item in the US, even though it's in the US, okay? What you can do is, you can come and sell the same or very similar item, but bring it into Amazon FBA Australia, meaning it'll be warehoused in Australia, and now you can take advantage of that geo arbitrage, and you can actually get those sales, because not everyone has Prime. There's people that are going to buy that thing, and they're going to see your coffee maker and it's in Australia, and the shipping is less. Plus, they're going to get it in less time. They don't have to wait a week. They can get it in a couple of days. They're going to buy your item. So by selling internationally, items that are selling internationally, you sell locally. That's another hack, okay? Now let's go talk about some cons. Obviously, you don't want to be coming into selling products that are at the end of the cycle. The coronavirus is just about to finish. They've found a cure, and all of a sudden now, you go out and buy all these hand sanitizers, toilet paper, and masks. You don't want to be doing that, because you're coming at the end of the cycle. So that's something that you don't want to do. You come in at the end of cycle. Don't invest in products that, that could be old sort of products, or they've already been in the marketplace for a couple of years, and they're already phased, the demand is already met, and you come in and now you're just going to basically sell the same item. Like you're not going to sell any items. See, so that's why you have to do your research prior. Make sure you don't go into those products that are already old and have already been exhausted with the demand. So that's also important. You don't want to have all your suppliers. You don't want to have them all in China, and this is a major mistake because a lot of the people out there that are teaching Amazon courses, they're saying, okay, what you do is you fire up your software, which is the first mistake. Then you look for these items, and then you go to Alibaba. And what do is they go to Alibaba, and then they look for supplies only in China. Did you know that Alibaba has a massive inventory of other countries, like, for example, Vietnam, Thailand, Bangladesh, even Myanmar, India, Cambodia, all these countries, Nepal. There's also countries in South America. It is a huge database. China might be the biggest country of manufacturers on that platform, but there are still thousands of different other suppliers from different countries that people are not taking advantage of. And then once you have a crisis of what has happened now with what we're seeing is all the stuff is coming out of China, and that's where the problem is. Now the shipments are slowed, whereas if you were getting your products out of Vietnam, you wouldn't have that issue. Your logistics and your supply chain would not be as affected as if you only solely got it out of China. So look at diversifying into different countries, and that's also an advantage too, because your product's going to be from different countries. It's highly likely that people aren't sourcing from those countries, so you can differentiate your product. And something also to consider is, obviously, once you have multiple SKUs, you don't want to just rely solely on sea shipping. Have a mixture. Have sea shipping and air shipping, because when like a crisis that's happened now, from sources that I have, is there's a lot of Australian businesses, like we're talking big Australian businesses that have a lot of bricks and mortar shops and spend hundreds and millions of dollars a year on goods from China. What I've heard is their goods, the whole process is being slowed down, so they've got containers that are either stuck in China, that they can't get out of China. So they mightn't receive their goods, now it's now March, they mightn't receive their goods before Christmas or just before Christmas, because of that blockade of what's happening in China is slowing down that logistics chain. So if you're solely relying just on sea shipping for your Amazon products, that can be a big problem. So again, by diversifying your SKUs, having big items, small items, you're not solely relying on just sea. When if there's a blockage in the logistics chain and all your stuff's held up at the wharf, well, you still can get products that you can fly in that are don't cost. You can get a large volume of them that cost more to fly, but you can still get them right by flying them in, and it's quicker because you diversify both sea and air in your logistics chain. All right, so that's something also to consider. Again, I always promote multiple SKUs. Don't just contain yourself into 10 products in one product line, and all of a sudden there's a big health crisis or a economic crisis and your products don't sell. You are going to be in deep shit. So hope there's some pointers there for you to understand about supply and demand with your Amazon products, and also the logistics side of it. If there's a crisis or there's an economic downturn, at least you know that you can cover your Amazon business, and even though it will be affected, you're going to be less affected than those people that put everything into one subcategory, and all of a sudden now they can't sell anything because their category is a category that no one will buy. For example, luxury items. Okay, so this is the classic example. When I had my bikes and I was selling my pocket bikes, this was not long after that the GFC hit in 2008, and all those bikes, no one was buying them because no one had any money. All right, so everyone was buying just the necessities. So that's the thing you want to think about too with your products. Try to get the necessities. Amazon has a range called Amazon Basics, and they're necessities. So think about that too. When people go into economic downturn or there's a crisis, they only buy necessities and they don't buy luxury items. So when I had my bikes, what happened was, obviously no one was buying my bikes, right? And my business went down the shit tube. So again, diversify your SKUs and look into daily items that people buy that they need, that are necessities, not luxuries. And you will go a lot further and don't have that as much of a risk in your Amazon business. Hope you found some tips and found this content valuable. If you did, leave a comment and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll bring out some more videos on Amazon, affiliate marketing. I also have a bit of Clickbank and some crypto. It's all about making money online. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. Catch you guys later.